This video is going to take you through the 3 different methods that I am teaching my class to multiply big numbers. One of the methods is the area model, the other method is the distributive property, and the last one is what my class keeps calling boomer math because it's the standard algorithm. So if you need to know one of those methods, this video is made for you. The first thing is we need to start with an example. Like, what do these things look like? So I'm just going to start with one problem, 14 times 6. And I'm going to show you how to do that on this chart and what all these pieces mean. So the problem is 14 times 6. Where did I write the 14? I wrote the 14 here, and here, and here. In fact, I made 14 rows of 6. Or I can think of it the other way, is I made a group of 14 6 times. So then the next question is, so where's the 6? I put the 6 here, and the 6 is here, and right here. So then I could write it like this. I could just do 14 times 6. That's the most efficient way to write it. But some of our brains don't really see that, and we forget a few parts. So if you have a different kind of brain, if you write it like this, then sometimes it's easier to see that the 6 is multiplied by the 10, and the 6 is multiplied by the 4, and those two are added together. Or maybe if I write it like this, it's easier for you. 6 times 10 plus 6 times 4. So I've broken apart the 14 and multiplied 6 by all parts of it. The way we solve it, though, is we solve it by just adding 14 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14. Now, I hope you grow up to be a flexible kind of mathematician and you can think of things in different ways, and you can just pull out 6 tens and then add up the rest. If I can pull out 6 tens, that's a whole lot easier to count. So let's try one on our own now. I want you to get a piece of paper that looks like this, or just a shot of graph paper, and I'm going to give you this new problem. The new problem is 15 times 8. When we do 15 times 8, let's start again by calculating ourselves a range. So if I want a range, I'm going to say, well, 15 is about 10, and 8 is about 10. So if I say about 10 times about 10 is going to be about 100. So my answer should be about 100. But let me get an answer that's too small. So I know that 10 times 8 would definitely be too small. So 80 is too small. But I also want an answer that's too big, so I know my range. So if I say 15 times 10, well, that's definitely too big. So then I know my answer would be between 150 and 80. And it should be round about 100. So now I need to say, where am I going to write the 15? I'm going to write the 15 at the top of the problem, and I'm also going to make a row of 15. Now you can see I color coordinated mine so I can count groups of 10 easier. And then now, where do I put the 8? I put the 8 underneath the 15, and I make 8 rows of 15. So I can see my 8 is right here and right here. And now I need to decompose it. So I'm going to take that 15 and decompose it into 5 and 10. And then the 8, well, I can't pull out any groups of 10. So now I need to multiply parts. So I'm going to say I have 5 groups of 8, or 8 groups of 5, and that's 40. And I have 10 groups of 8, or 8 groups of 10, and that's 80. So I add the 40 and the 80, and I get 120. And that's actually the answer to the problem. 15 times 8 is 120. And when I compare that to my range, I think that I'm about right. Let me show you all 3 ways that we do 15 times 8. That way was the box method or the area model method. But we can also do 15 times 8 in the distributive property way. The distributive property means I take a number out and I distribute it to the others. So if I want to do 15 times 8, I could do 8 times the quantity 10 plus 5. And for me, that's a little bit easier because I just do, I know my 8, so 8 times 10 is 80, and 8 times 5 is 40. So I could just add those up together to get 120. That way I can do 15 times 8 in my head because I could pull it apart into numbers that I like and put it back together again. That's really easy for me. Now, when I was a kid, this method was really hard for me. So maybe it's going to be hard for you. But I still teach it because it's not hard for everybody. Just when I was 10 years old, it was hard for my brain. So maybe you're going to learn this method and you're going to say, man, that's the easy way. This is what my kids in class called the boomer method. I believe the term you're looking for is the classic. So first we start in the ones column. 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. I have to carry the 4. Then I do the tens. 1 times 8, and then I add the 4. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 4 is 12, and I write that here. My answer is 120. So now I've shown you 3 ways to do it: the standard algorithm, the area model, and the distributive property method. So let's try that with a little harder problem now. Let's try that with 15 times 8. Now, as always, I want to get a range before I start. So I'm going to say 10 times 10 is going to be too small. That's 100. But I'm also going to say that 20 times 20 is going to be too big. So 400 is definitely too big. So now I'm going to go bit by bit. 15 goes here, and then I have a row of 15. 18 goes right here, and now I have 18 rows of 15. And as you can see, I've color coordinated it just to make the counting easier. My answer should be how many little squares I filled in. Now, I made the red part 10 times 10 because, well, 10s are easy to count. And then I made the yellow part 10 times 8. If you look at the blue part and the green part, that's 10 times 5 and 8 times 5. So that is a whole lot easier to do in my head. 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 8 is 80, 10 times 5 is 50, 8 times 5 is 40. I add those all up and I get 270. Perfect. But let's go through all those methods again. 10 times 18 in the standard algorithm or the boomer method, I'm going to do 5 times 8, which is 40. I'm going to do 1 times 8 plus 4, which is 12. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because I have to add the 0 here to know that I'm done with the ones column. I'm done with the 8. Now I'm going to multiply by the 1. Now I'm going to multiply by the tens column. So I do 5 times 1 is 5. And 1 times 1 is 1. I take those and I add them up. That gives me 270. So for the distributive method though, 15 times 8, well, 15 times 8 is kind of hard to do in your head. But if I pull out the tens, it's a lot easier to do this in your head. The way we do this for the distributive method, I like to use the acronym FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. Now the first numbers are 10 and 10. The last numbers are 8 and 5. The outside numbers are 10 and 8, and the inside numbers are 5 and 10. So I can just put them all separate like this. So first 10 times 10 plus outside 10 times 8 plus inside 5 times 10 plus the last ones, which is 8 times 5. And well, I know that 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 8 is 80, 5 times 10 is 50, 8 times 5 is 40. I can add that up in my head, 270. Now it's up for you to try. I would like you to try 15 times 19 by yourself. If you can do it in all 3 methods and get 285 every time, you're good to go. So pause the video and give that a try. Now I want you to try 17 times 19 3 different ways, and you should get 325. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can get 325 3 times. Sorry, sometimes teachers are evil. We don't give you all the answers. We make you figure it out by yourself. All right. Leave in the comments what the actual answer is if you did it 3 different ways. And hey, don't always believe the teacher. Sometimes we do make mistakes. Do it 3 different ways where you get the same answer 3 different times on 3 different methods. And then you tell me what the right answer is.